Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simplify Work. Today, we have the pleasure of meeting Doron from Israel. He is the CTO and co founder of Per Diem, a YC backed startup. And coincidentally, before this startup, he has also served as a platoon commander in a technology combat unit in the Israeli army. With such a diverse background, I would love to welcome Doron. Doron, how are you feeling today?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going well. Pleasure speaking with you. Before we begin, Doran, would you like to give our audience a little bit of a background about you and what eventually led you to Padia?
Sure. Since I was very young, I always was drawn to kind of be my own boss.
Uh-huh.
So I think when I was 16, and we're talking about a long time ago, I built my own first company, which was building websites for people. PHP, MySQL,
Mhm.
was PHP 4. There wasn't even object oriented back then. So starting very early age. So it's always kind of building products. So people always asking me like how many companies, like what, it's never just the one company. So it's like since very early age, kind of trying to building different ideas and doing a lot of mistakes on the way.
Mhm.
Again, you were touching the army. It's part of it's a mandatory thing in it.
Mhm.
Everyone in Israel. Um, and after the army, I kind of work on a couple of other startups as an
Mhm.
employee, also as a CTO for a company to do 4K streaming technology, and later moved to the US after my finishing my degree. I've been
Mhm.
backpacking for 2 years too. So I've been
Okay.
working with laptop with very slow internet, and then moved to the Bay Area, worked for Siemens, Beats Music.
Uh-huh.
Later, I worked at the Apple Music team.
Wonderful.
And
So
then after
Beats
that,
was
Open.
acquired by Apple, is that right?
Yes, I think
Wonderful.
$3.2 billion was the
Uh-huh.
acquisition. So yeah, it was a very big thing for Apple to move into like the services and becoming a very
Mhm.
strong player in the music streaming. After that, I joined OpenTable, and then
Mhm.
after OpenTable, I joined a small startup called Celdron, where they build robotic sailboats. After
Ah.
5 years there,
Mhm.
this entrepreneurship thing starting to itch me, and I wanted to build my next thing.
Mhm.
And my co-founder reached out to me and asked me about a platform that we can build subscription with for his cousin.
How
And I
did
was
you
like,
meet your co-founder, if I may ask?
so yeah. So we met at OpenTable. He was a product
Ah.
marketing,
Okay.
and I wasn't the engineering. So we always
Okay.
kind of threw an idea at each other. I was like, let's do this,
Mhm.
let's do this. What do you think about that?
Mhm.
So it's again, it's people always think it's like this is an experience that built in years of like trying building stuff. During the
Mhm.
way I tried building many other ideas. One was Artistified, that you can like send a painting. So basically, you take a picture and you want someone to
Mhm.
paint it. So it's a marketplace for photographer and artist.
Mhm.
So always kind of push that, and then I realized the CAC was too expensive.
Mhm.
The LTV, the churn, it's not something that is being repeatable. So it's very hard to build a business, especially
Mhm.
when you can automate the two-side marketplace. So if you cannot
Right.
automate, like that's I think Uber's problem. It's always need to hire
Right.
drivers. The moment they're gonna get to a self-driving car, that's when the market can explode.
Mhm.
So yes.
Got it. So what made you eventually decide upon this idea about per diem? Maybe you can just tell us a little bit what the
Yeah.
company does.
So during COVID, we've been seeing a lot of small, medium businesses and overall people were struggling, and we realized there's an opportunity here to build a
Mhm.
subscription, kind of like Amazon Prime as a service, as a platform for everyone. So
Mhm.
we did start with building a subscription as a service for
Mhm.
businesses, and as we mature as an entrepreneur in a company, we realize there's a big opportunity on b- helping businesses to own their customers, and then we realize that's the key point.
Mhm.
With apps such as DoorDash and all of those other aggregators, you don't
Mhm.
own your customer. You pay 25% out of the order or 20, and you pay a lot,
Right.
and they're not your
Right.
customer at the end of the day.
Uh-huh.
Especially if you drive the traffic to DoorDash, why do you need to be there?
Mhm.
You can just be on your own app. On the
Right.
other hand, you can be on both too, and says, you know what, I'm going to use them, but here's my loyal customer. I can give them points, I can like rewards, I can give them
Mhm.
coupon, and it's my own app. The problem,
Mhm.
the barrier to build your app was like, you needed a lot of cash.
Mhm.
So look at, I guess Starbucks and
Mhm.
Pete's Coffee. They have a CTO and designer and engineers, and we can just say, hey, you know what? Come join us. $100 a month. You have your app.
Mm.
So we lower the barrier completely.
Got it. Got it. So how do you go about acquiring your initial customers? Because obviously it's very hard when a company is starting out without any track record.
Right. Exactly. And I think because we don't have a brand yet. So
Right.
the way we have to do outreach. And that's, I think, the key difference. So I think that's a tip, like where there's a moment in a startup life where you kind of
Mhm.
become already a brand like Stripe that you go
Mhm.
to. But before, when you start, you have to like reach out and say,
Right.
do you have an app today? If not, here's why. If you do, come check us our app and we can give you like a 14-day trial or, so yeah.
So was it like reaching out to people in your own network, or was it Google
No,
Ads? Was it some
completely
other channel?
cold emails. Cold
Cold
emails we
emails.
find it the most
So
useful.
you
Yeah,
were only
yeah,
focusing on US at that time? I mean, even now, is your target group
yeah.
only in US or
Our
around the world?
target group is definitely the US at the moment. We do
Mhm.
support Australia, Canada, and England, and even we have customers from America and Samoa.
Got it.
So
Oh,
yeah, so we
interesting.
technically everywhere where you
Got
have
it.
a point of sale. So if you have a Square point of
Sure.
sale and you're in Spain, you can actually use our service too.
Got it. So is it like a CRM plus plus kind of model, especially for the mobile world? Is my understanding correct?
No, I wouldn't call it a CRM. I would say it's more, we basically think about Wix for mobile apps with billing. So technically we
Okay.
connect you. So one click, I basically connect your point of sale. I get all the information I need and then I
Okay.
generate you an app. You can,
Ah.
and you can design it. So you can change the colors, you can change the text, you can move things
Mm-hmm.
around, set up the onboarding. And then basically we support delivery and pickup.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, I want to pick up, and we can even control the hours. You can say,
Mm-hmm.
only during those time I want to support pickup, only those time I want to support delivery. You can set the
Interesting.
preparation time. You can even limit orders. It says all order must be coming now, or I can actually do a future order for tomorrow.
Got it. So is it
So we can,
specifically for e-commerce companies
no,
who are
brick and mortar businesses, coffee
okay?
shops, restaurants, anyone who
Ah.
basically, even, you know what, if you have a clothing store and you want to support
Mm-hmm.
shipping just like Amazon, we
Mm-hmm.
support it, and it's a DoorDash delivery basically. So
Got it. So what,
you
what
get
were
a
some of
driver.
the key objections you faced when you started out, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, of course. I think people, the moment you try to sell them something, it's like, I don't want it, right? Like, and I think it's in everything. It's like me and you, when someone comes and
Right.
says, it's like, I don't want to buy anything. I don't want to spend money. It's,
Right.
that's the typical thing of like, but I think once they starting to see like, do you want to become like Starbucks or you want to stay
Mm-hmm.
small? And they realize, look,
Mm.
this is how much it costs. Like to build a mobile app, it's not $100. Like you have to pay
Mm.
a lot of money and you most likely won't be able to
Absolutely.
get it to market. Just
Right.
figure out the app stores. Like most people, well, they have to
Mm.
run a business after all. So we definitely have, I think, we have a good, like our product actually looks pretty good, and I think once people actually open it and be like, wow, that's my product, that's my logo, and
Mm.
then it's like, okay, they're starting to understand like why they needed it. Especially
Got it.
once other people have, then you realize you kind of late to the game, so you want to do that. It's like websites, when in
Right.
the early 2000, hey, do you need a website? No, I don't want it. But then
Yeah.
once everyone around you have a website, you basically realize, oh,
Mm.
shoot, I need to get a website.
Got it. And the app, once the app is made by your tool, do you also help in getting the app published in the App Store?
Everything. We
Ah.
actually have a package where we help them design their own app store and Google Play Store. So we help
Ah,
them to take
wonderful.
some screenshots and everything. So it's really important for us not to just like sell it and forget,
Mm-hmm.
because we really like, for us, we really care about like this
Got it.
kind of like relationship. It's not just a one-time sales. Here, I sold you. Like, here's the TV. You
Mm.
bought it. That's it. Like, like we
Mm.
really want you to be successful, because the moment you have
Got it.
like now 10 locations or 20
Mhm.
location and you actually grow, we're growing with you together. Since
Got
we're
it.
getting money from transaction and each
Mhm.
location. So like
Got
it's
it.
our interest for you to be successful. So we're basically on
Mhm.
the same boat.
So, who are these people who you typically reach out to? Because I mean, there are many mom and pop stores, but is there like do you segment by say size or by revenues or by some other parameter?
So at the moment, we basically try everything. It's like guerrilla, right? Like we'll take whatever it takes. So like,
Got it.
yes, we're going after the big networks when it's it's a longer sales cycle,
Mhm.
just because they're bigger.
Right.
And it's very hard to find the person who signed the check. The bigger the
Uh,
organization. You know, Sometimes it could be a manager that can, a manager of one location who can waste your like an hour of your day and says, yeah, build the app, yeah, let's sign up, and then basically the owner will be like, wait, no, like this, we don't
They
want it,
don't
I
have the
don't want to
money.
spend. Right, exactly. With the small one, it's easy, right? It's a fast sell. They can just take a
Right.
credit card and buy it. But they're
Right.
very cautious about spending money too, because they're
Right.
small. So that's where it's very hard, right? The big ones, it's too slow. You really need to find the right person. And I think it's like selling software, which is kind of interesting how
Of
the
course.
software, like the SaaS and the developer tools move into like, bottom top versus like 10 years ago, you go and you set an appointment with the CTO. And then the CTO
Right.
said, okay, everyone, we're moving to Microsoft or to Postgres or MySQL, right? Because he got, someone convinced him to switch, right? Today it's different, right? It's like, hey, here's an engineer, try MongoDB. Oh, you like it? Pitch it to your manager and the manager and so on. So it does go from the bottom. So there's a
Right.
different sales. I see it with Monday, especially who are they targeting. So it's kind of interesting to see enterprise sales versus small, medium businesses.
Got it. So you have, as of now, not specifically pinpointed which segment you want to go after. You are trying and still exploring, where the intake is more.
Right. We're still early
Understood.
stage, and also we want to keep it kind of like very big to be dynamic and understand the strengths and weaknesses on each angle.
Right. So what happened first? Your idea, of course, came first. After that, did you get immediately funded at an idea stage, or did you already have some customers? I understand you're obviously funded by Y Combinator. So how did that
Yeah.
happen? What was your experience?
So raising money, I think it's not the goal, and it shouldn't be
Of
the
course.
target, and it's hard, and people always like, so unless you did it 3 times in a row and sold the company, then it's become easier, of course. But even that, I think it's, talking to other founders, I know everyone thinks it's like it's easy, so it wasn't. We basically started from a problem, and I think that was help us, because someone said, I have a problem, and what I believe, if you have a problem, pay for it. If you can get someone to pay, like let's say if I go and ask you, hey, I build a new phone, okay, let's call it, pre-owned phone, right? And he said, okay, do you want it? He says, for free? He says, sure, I'll take it. But when you say people, hey, it's $1,000, then be like, I don't need it. But for free, people will take. So I think the key is when you start something, is to sell the idea. And if someone says, here's my problem, says, okay, great, give me $5,000 to solve this problem for you. If I cannot solve it, let's say if now it's September 14, by let's say January 14, I'll give you the money back. Then you're solving a real issue, because someone is willing to pay for that. And that's what we did. We got money from someone to build it. And then I realized that's a problem I'm willing to spend my time on. So that's what we did. And once we built the product and we got to more or less 800, almost $1 million in GMV. GMV is basically gross marginal volume, like how much we sold on the platform, which we take a percent out of that.
Okay.
We basically applied to YC, spoke with a bunch of investors. We spoke with YC. I think definitely the experience helped. That I was director of engineering. My co-founder was the product marketing at OpenTable and Resi. So it did help. It was during COVID too, so like it makes sense to build subscription and help other people. So I think there was kind of like, there was a good cause too. Like we didn't build another ad tool or something mean. It was something that actually helped people.
Got it.
So that's that. Yeah.
So when you raised funding, was it just the two of you, or did you already hire some people?
We had some people, and
So how did you decide who are your first hires? So if for any budding entrepreneurs, like how do any recommendations, or especially with your own example, how did you go about building the team, even especially before you raised funds?
right. So the first one was a designer and a front end engineer, and I kind of work on the back end and front end. So I needed someone. I needed help with with engineering. I also believe that there's a new term instead of MVP. I call it MWP, which is the most wowable product. Because you need to wow your customers, and that's why I think it's really important to get a designer when you first start it, because you need to wow people. And I think it's wow to your customers, the people you sell your product. It's also for your own employees. That's why we have head of people. That basically when you talk to a company and there's a head of people, and she makes sure we actually follow up with people and we don't just forget. Or some people have like our employee can talk with someone and ask question about their paycheck that is not their boss. I think it does help to build culture. And so I think there's two fronts here that we do that.
One of your top two hires or first two hires was a designer. Very interesting. And
Designer and an engineer to help me to build a product.
got it. Got it.
Again, it really depends. If you're a very strong engineer and don't need help, you probably don't need an
Of
engineer.
course.
If you're a designer and you're the co-founder, you don't need a designer.
Right.
So I think it depends on you, right? If you we probably next time will be more on the sales side too, since we have a product that is running. At the moment, like we build a very amazing platform that you can literally build a mobile app, press launch, and we launch an app.
Wow.
So yeah, so it takes time, and that's what I think. I spoke with younger founder that basically, we needed to do it in a month. Like it takes time to build something good, and it's
Got
also
it.
the
So,
nuance that bring you the big customer too, like those big
right.
features, the preparation time, the other one that like they're very complex and it's very small thing, but they're like actually make a big difference for the big customers.
Of course, of course. And so initially, since you mentioned you had some people even before you raised funding, how was that experience? Was it through your personal network, or was it easy or difficult to get your initial few hires?
So at the beginning, I tried to look into my own network, but I lived in the Bay Area, and I realized like that's not gonna work. And I think if I have a talent, is hiring people. So
Please
so
do
yeah.
share your secrets.
So basically, it's sending a coding challenge to any role you have. If it's a designer, give them a challenge. Hey, this is what I'm trying to build. Design something for me. Design one page, and again, give them a bonus. It says, hey, the person we hire for that position will get a bonus. So there's like, hey, I'm gonna spend time on this coding challenge. At least I'm gonna get paid if I get a job.
Right.
It does. Think about when I do that. So if we get 1,000 people for a job post, 100 will do the coding challenge, 20 will be good, and we'll for the 100. I say thank you so much for doing that, of course, and I appreciate it. And if they have any question why it's a no, I'll jump on a really short call and tell them why. For the other 20, we'll jump on an half an hour to an hour call, go over the coding challenge to kind of see where the strengths are, and then you basically have something to work with. And it could be even like an HR person. Here's your challenge. You needed to fire someone. You didn't get much information. I want you to write an email. Or here's another scenario. What would you do? Designer, we talked about. Engineer and designer are very simple. Product manager, great. Like, here's our product. Write a product spec. And the next question will be like, add a new product to our platform and tell me, why do we need to build it? How do you going to measure it? Product manager, you name it. You need a marketing. This is what we build. How do you market it? Let's build a strategy.
So you're saying it helps to evaluate the performance on the job in a simulated environment, in as much close to your actual needs as possible. And that's the best way to judge. And of course,
and the best
having
thing,
yeah.
And I think one really good strong thing I also keep telling that if you need me for any question, I'm happy to answer on email. So I also check their communication skill, which I think is very important, because then I can see what question do they ask me. Oh my God, they lost or they're not. Do they understand what I want from them and so on? So I think it's important.
Right. Since you started during COVID, did you ever have a in-office experience, or have you been remote? How are you set up right now?
We meet basically in New York, me and my co-founder. We do offsites and stuff, but yes, we're just fully remote, which is good and bad.
What's good and what's bad about it? What has
I
been your
think you're missing
experience?
the human touch, right? It's
Of
missing
course.
this, time zone are very hard too.
So you
But
people,
on
are
the
they
other,
primarily in US, or are they all across?
all across, literally any continent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many people are you in before we delve further?
I think we are 20 people.
20 odd, but
20,
spread
yeah.
across many countries, you're saying.
Many countries, yeah.
Interesting.
Canada,
Okay. So,
US, Europe,
you're telling us about your
Africa.
remote experience.
Yeah. So I think the number one thing, you cannot build a hybrid company. And I think the mistake is when you do hybrid, you're not there and you're not there. Because then if the CEO is in specific city and country, everyone want to be close to him, and the people who are close to him will be getting better, like they'll get the promotion they wanted because they're there. And so I think you need to choose when you choose your DNA, what are you? Are you a remote company, or you're an on-site company? So I think we decide on that we're fully remote. We'll do some offsites to kind of build this network and connection. I'll make sure everyone, when we do a meeting, everyone have to have their video on, I don't want people to be muted and without video because I'm not, we need to see each other. That's the minimum we can do. And I think when you're fully remote, it's actually open. It's first, it saves you money of rent, but also paycheck. Like you don't
Of
need to
course.
hire people from big cities in New York, and you can say, hey, if you
Right.
live outside of New York, you don't
Of
need that
course.
much. You don't need to pay so much, and you get even more. We believe in less about the hour and more stuff and more about like productivity and like feature
Right.
you release and like the actual work. Because I can be in an
Right.
office for 10 hours and literally do nothing. We
Of
can sit
course.
next to the coffee machine. We'll look into some tickets. We'll
Uh,
comment on some. We'll send some Slack messages. But
right.
I was in the office for 12 hours, so I worked hard. So I think it's a different approach, and because we're fully remote, we can get really top talent. Like a lot of people told me, but wait, are you gonna hire someone, let's say from like Mongolia or whatever, not the Bay Area, not New York, not the
Right.
Silicon Valley? You realize, wait, do you think that in this 50 million people country, there's not even one
Yeah.
person who
Yeah.
is like top React engineer? People will be like, okay, do you think there's at least 10 people from those 50 million who really knows React or anything other
Right.
technology? Be like, you're right.
Right.
So what I realized is like, find those people, and because you open, you can get those people because you don't need to care about visas. Some of them don't even want to move out of their country. They enjoy living
Of
there. They
course.
like their culture. They want to be close to their family. Not everyone want to live the way you live in New York or
Right.
Silicon Valley or like so.
Right.
And
And they
some
get a
people are
chance to
very
work with
surprised.
an amazing company like Per Diem. So that's also there from a different country. They're able to work with amazing engineers all over the world.
Exactly. And it's good culture. And I think it's really interesting to kind of see the different languages and there's definitely, you need to be definitely more, kind of have like the intelligence, the emotion intelligence to like accept others and,
Got it.
oh, this person doesn't need that, or that's what doesn't person do that. Kind of be more respectful and be open-minded because whatever looks stupid to you, that, the other might think it's
Right.
stupid. So it's, so a lot of those you kind of need to,
Sure.
and it's hard for all of us, right? We're very tribal and we kind of grain some ideas into our head that we think this, oh, what I'm doing is the best, which is,
Of
you know,
course. Of course.
so yeah.
And intrinsically, this ensures DEI, right? There's diversity intrinsically because you're, hiring people from all over the world. And
Yep.
so my question is, how do you get those amazing talent, as you mentioned, from a far away corner of the earth? How do you spot talent? Is there a specific channel that has helped you? Is there something
Absolutely.
else you can share?
Absolutely. So blog posts, I think it's a great way to get people.
So you
Let's
mean
say,
engineering blocks?
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
okay?
write blog posts about anything you would like to get, right? So the
Okay.
same as you target your customers, target your employees.
Sure.
Think about GitHub. Let's say I'm using now Go. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to take something new. I can Google it with you and kind of like think about the simulation. But let's say we want to use Rust, and I'm gonna say, okay, what are the frameworks that are in Rust?
Right.
And I'm gonna go
Right.
to GitHub and says, here's all the frameworks in that are open source in Rust. Who are the people who actually open issues, ask questions, and committing code? Then target those people, find them on LinkedIn, get a VA for like $3-5 an hour, or just use ChatGPT. Send them an email. Hey, I'm the one. I'm the CEO of this company. I went through this GitHub repo and saw your issue that you opened. I really love that you're part of the community. We are using this technology, and we're
Got it.
looking for an employee. Is that something that would
Got
be
it.
interesting
Very
to you?
targeted outreach. It's a cold outreach, but extremely targeted outreach
Right. And you
and
can
relevant
automate the
to.
whole flow. You know,
Okay. Did you try to automate some of
Yeah, you
this?
just go to GitHub and you get a list of all the contributors. And then people open
Uh,
issue, you get their. So the only tough part will be to get their email if they don't have their email on their GitHub account. So then you might need
right.
to do cross reference, which is not
Right.
that
But
hard
there
to.
are tools that help you do that, or you
Exactly.
can reach them. Reach out to them on LinkedIn, etc. But that's a
Exactly.
fantastic idea. Got it.
Yeah.
So once you identify and maybe reach out to people, say from all over the world, how do you then attract? Like, what if if you want to just give us, if a listener is interested in joining Per Diem, why should they join your company?
Okay, so definitely, as I think as I touched before, we don't care about the hours. We care about being available for meeting that's set, being professional when you're not around. Say, hey guys, I'm out tomorrow. Great, no problem. But just make sure you are telling that. I think we are trying to build a very unique culture of engineering that kind of push each other to the limit. I think I'm very pushy and I want to be pushed back. I always tell people, tell me no. Tell me why no. Don't tell me yes, because I can tell myself yes all day, right? I want to hear the no. So we always encouraging. We pretty flat organization also with the way I want people to treat me and them, because everyone kind of are my co-founders. Everyone get equity. Like everyone should get equity. It doesn't matter what they're doing. So
Got it.
yeah, and I think it's so it's very open-minded. I think you get the chance to work with people from all over the world. You can live wherever you want. So if you live in you're stuck in a city because you need to keep your job, so instead of living in polluted cities or crowded area or paying a lot for rent, you can live wherever.
Right, fantastic. So, and now that assuming you've obviously hired and scaled to 20 plus people and such diverse set of people from all over the world, how do you ensure alignment? Because that obviously is much easier in an office. In a remote environment, how do you ensure alignment to your culture?
So we have 2 meetings a day. So it's set on the calendar. I think a stand up. It's not really stand up. It's like a daily thing, and we have 2 things a day.
Sure.
First of all, it's really nice to see people's face. I say, hey, you got a haircut. Hey, you did this. Hey, nice shirt. So we always kind of do. It's very casual, and I think we all very alike. Always people want to say Israelis are like this, Indians are like that, Japanese are like this. You realize at the end of the day, we're all the same. So it's very nice to kind of see. I think we build a very good culture. Like I feel like people are friends at the company. So I really believe in kind of questioning status quo, being honest. So I think that's
nice. And do you have have you ever thought of listing down your culture in detail, or is that something that is a more shared and unstated theme?
So when I started, I actually started the document. Here is what I'm believing in A, B, and C. And then today we kind of moved to more very casual, like at the end of the day, 2 meetings, let's go and talk. Even sprints, we remove all the sprints. We do kind of basically every day, this is what we should work on. Things are always moving. Okay, let's see, when can we finish that? Okay, that's Tuesday, great.
It's more a Kanban than a Scrum kind of model.
Yeah, we use Gantt chart for like the big roadmap project, but we basically on like a daily thing. So it's moved really fast, because when you have a sprint, you kind of lock your mind into like, here is my task for the next 2 weeks. And then you're going to spend time on grooming them, and you're going to do basically planning, and then you do retro at the end of the week. We do basically planning, planning, grooming, and retro every meeting. So sometimes meetings are longer, but we do it in a very friendly way. It won't last forever, so that's for sure. I know once the team grow, and it's not gonna end. But for now, I think this is what really works best for us.
Fantastic. And any specific tools that you'd like to call out that help you manage this remote environment well?
Yes, I think we're using Linear, and we're using Slack and Google Docs for documentation. But we're trying to move the documentation after we kind of go from them. We move into Linear, so everything in one place. I do. One thing that really works best for me, it's my own. I call it MITs. So most important things. So every week I'll write, here is my MIT for this week, and then I'll share it with the team, so people know here's the MIT of my. I think once we grow, it's kind of think about like an OKR system for for the leads of the company. So this is my MIT, but it's literally I think
top level goals, and then you think of how to trickle them down to people below you.
So this week MITs are like figure out like the notification for customers, so that, like our merchant can target like specific notification of a group and segments in their app and others. So 1, 2, and 3, and then when you don't put too much, you basically can make sure you get to those, and then you move them to the next week, whatever left. So it's really kind of like, okay, this is the objectives.
Fantastic. And in Per Diem's immediate future, is there anything big that you're planning? I mean, if any potential customers are listening, or even investors, is there something amazing that is coming in the near future?
I think for the past like 3 to 4 months, we've been growing over 30% month over month with the number of merchants we have, with the number of orders. We had 5,000 orders in a day because one of our customers decided to give free cookies in New York. That's just one customer, one merchant, one app, which was crazy. So we saw the spike in our big span and completely broke the whole patterns and the whole like trend. but that's good. So we are actually building more and more feature. One of them I think will be a very like the next killer feature, which will be a subscription based model. What do I mean by that? You pay so you as a merchant can define to to basically provide a subscription to your customers. And here's
Okay.
how it works. Let's say I have 5 coffee shops, all in Los Angeles area.
Okay.
And I want to say, hey, if you pay $50 a month, every month, I'll give you free coffee. But
Okay.
with the caveat that you can get a free coffee every 2 hours. So you can't just come and get like 5 coffee. You can order one, you get it, you pick it up, you come. So if you work, let's say in downtown LA, and you have a coffee next to your office, and you know you're gonna stop there in the morning, lunch, and then one before you leave, maybe even 2, and you know it's more or less, you know, this probably will be a better deal than just buying them. So then you basically will buy the subscription. Now, why is it good for the merchants? Merchant basically just locked you for $50. So even if they're losing money, they can make maybe for 2 coffees a day, they'll make more. So they lock you. The next time you're gonna get lunch or anything else, you're gonna go, this is your default coffee.
Of course.
Second, they can build like an
It's a
MRR.
habit formation, basically.
Exactly. And they have MRR. Basically, like they're gonna becoming like a SaaS company. They have a basic MRR. Hey, you know, every business, it says, when I start my month, I'm at minus 10,000 because I have rent and I have this and I have my fixed cost. Here it's different. So it's gonna fix that. From a customer perspective, you get points, you get loyal customer, you get the comfortable, you get, hey, Per Diem, how's it going? Good. Oh, here's your coffee. Like, you know, you build a relationship, it's fun. You feel
It's
like
a
you're
loyalty
supporting
management, in a way, a loyalty management and loyalty improvement platform.
Right. So, and I keep
Wonderful.
the last part, which is saving money. So you as a customer save money. I feel some of the US customer that's gonna sign the subscription, I don't think that's the most thing that drives all of them. But it is an incentive that says, hey, you know what, I save. I actually do 2 coffees a day, and I work 5 days a week, 20, and I pay for coffee $5, and it's $100, so it's like 50% discount. I think I'll take it.
Of course.
So yeah.
Great. I wanted to just step back a bit. This idea is such a nuanced and amazing idea. I was very curious. How did you or your co-founder come up with this? Because none of you are directly from the ecom background, from what I understand. Is this something like a lightning that struck you one day, or is this something you experienced? I would love to know.
I think a couple of things. One is that that we worked at OpenTable, but it started as a subscription for farmers, and it's basically evolving every day, thinking about subscription.
Okay.
So you think about punch cards, then you think about reverse punch card that you pay to get 10, or the one that you buy and then they punch it. So like there's different models, and you kind of put everything together, and you basically go, and then you kind of talk with customers, and they tell you, oh, what do you think about that? So things are kind of changing. So
Got
yes.
it. Got it. Fantastic. Great. I think we have almost reached the end of our segment. One last question. Typically, I love to ask my guests.
Yeah.
Tell us something that maybe your current colleagues don't know about you. Something interesting, something that you may not have shared about your life.
I'm for my colleague, I'm share everything with them. Like really, like I'll be very
Anything that
open
you
about
keep
it.
to yourself, or I mean, even if you have shared, I mean, that's fine. I mean, something
Yeah.
interesting that at least our audience doesn't know
Yeah.
about you.
I guess I moved from a really big city, from San Francisco. We decided we want to move a year ago back to Israel, just to be change the feeling. Just the city have been changed a lot, so we wanted something different. So I moved to the desert, I guess, and now we're kind of remodeling. So I'm like in this room of like a big mess. I found a place to kind of put my desk. Yeah, I guess it's really hard working from home for me in a bit, and then sometimes like there's a benefit. I'm just sometimes laser focused because I don't have the commute and everything. I'm just wake up, I work out, get my day ready, and then I just get into a room and like sometimes get to a zone of like 6 hours, very productive. Again, not about the hours. Like some people says, what, only 6 hours? Yes, that's all you need. Give it 6 hours, a productive 6 hours a day. It's more than enough.
Right. Fantastic. Great, Doron. Absolute pleasure speaking with you. Any parting thought for our audience?
Yeah, I think the most important thing on like building your own startup is just keep doing it. Keep doing it and wake up every morning. There's gonna be a tough time when you basically say, you're gonna start calculating your like opportunity cost and like that you're losing money, but just keep doing it. If you can do it for a long time, that's success basically.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Pleasure speaking with you. Wish you all the best, especially with
Thank
Per
you.
Diem. All right. Thanks.